How y'all doing? Happy Sabbath in my world, huh? Happy Saturday. Happy whenever you'll see this in your world. Okay, listen, bienvenidos a mi canal. Welcome back to my channel. If you know me, appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming back to see, girl. If you do not recognize this face right here, my bad. My name's Latrice. Nice to meet you. And this right here is Faith by Latrice. Yes, why am I slouching? Where faith is the muscle we exercise around here. Now let's get on into it, y'all. No dilly-dallying. Because déjame decirles algo, huh? Today's Sabbath. And there was an event at a church that I went to this morning. And thought I knew what I was coming to get. Surely did not. I said, Jesus, ain't that like God to give you something you ain't asked for, huh? I told y'all I was going to be looking different sometime when y'all see me. I'm just trying not to look raggedy. Let's just get into it. All right, here we go. El tema de hoy is just an interruption. Ooh. It's just an interruption. Let me tell you something. So this ain't even the message. By the way, it was SJR, Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts. It was amazing. Thank you to her, to One Church, to Faithful Central, for all the people who had this event today, Recharge. And this wasn't even the scripture she preached out of. She preached out of John 11. And she mentioned Romans 12, 1-2. Let me read it. And this is where I got what I needed, huh? This is Paul writing to the Roman church. He said, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. Be ye transformed, if you know which version that is. By the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Now, words mean things. I've heard this verse. I've read this verse several times, right? And she mentioned, oh God, come on, help. That we look at that word renewal, we think, oh, by the renewing of my mind, by studying, by reading, by all the things that God is going to make my mind new. Renew does not even mean to make new. Words mean things. To renew means to resume after an interruption. Oh God. What she preached from was John 11, I believe. And it was Lazarus dying, right? So his sister runs over to Jesus like, yo, my man, what happened? Had you been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Okay? We think, because, oh God, Jesus finds out about it. And as soon as he hears about it, it's not when he comes rushing over to fix the problem. When he comes is when we know that thing is sure and dead, so that when I get here, we know that it was me who did it, right? He didn't come when Mary wanted him to come. Oftentimes we want God to come now. I'm hurting now. I don't like this. Come right now. We think we're going to get that renewed mind, renewed spirit, renewed self when we ask God to come, when we want him. When we think now is the time you need to come fix it now, right? But we don't always get that. But a renewing is not having something new. It's resuming after an interruption. She says Pastor said, oftentimes we think the interruption isn't when you first noticed you started to change. It's not when you first notice or you feel you're in the middle of feeling sad, depressed, whatever it is. That's not when the interruption was. Most times the interruption, she gave the example of carbon monoxide. Like people would get poisoning from that, but they wouldn't know until it was too late because it was undetectable by smell, by all the things, right? And that's what happens oftentimes. Things get in our spirit, in our mind, and we don't know that we're affected until after the fact. So that interruption it didn't happen when you thought it happened, when you finally had the breakdown. This breakdown interrupted my life. Lord have mercy, talking to myself. This interruption that I'm having right now didn't happen when I had my breakdown about 3 weeks ago. It happened when I was, wow, I'm pointing at a painting of myself. When I was very little and the spirit of rejection, the root of rejection was planted into my life at a young age. That's when the interruption happened. I was unaware of it. I couldn't see it. I didn't know that this is what it was. But that's when the interruption took place. And to renew your mind, my God, means to resume what was already going on. That good work that God started in me. God, I feel my help coming. To resume that after this break. To resume means to go on with again after an interruption. An interruption means to cause a break in the continuity of. God has a plan for us. He says, this is how I'm going to have your life set up. And we get these interruptions that happen early on. We've been talking about this. You get interruptions early on in your life as a child. You have a trauma thing that happens and it starts to spiral, or it's seeds planted. And now you're an adult and you're dealing with things you don't even know where they came from. They came from when you were a child, when you were interrupted. My gosh. And she said oftentimes it's like the enemy could, is disguising the interruption as a disruption. The difference between an interruption and a disruption, an interruption just has a break. Like if I'm talking and somebody interrupts me, it's a break in when I'm talking, and then I continue on. A disruption, she gave an example, like if I'm talking, not only somebody interrupts me speaking, but now they throwing stuff around the room. We throwing stuff, I'm ducking and all this stuff. A disruption now, because I've been disrupted, I have to get out of character. I have to change my appearance now. I got to go talk to you, handle you differently. Now I got to stop what I'm doing. I can't just break in conversation and keep going. I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to stop my progress. I have to stop my job. I have to stop and put things on hold. I have to stop me moving. I have to stop me transitioning to another job. Now I have to address this thing now, right? But the interruption is disguised, concealed, change the identity of to look like a disruption. But here's the message. It's only an interruption. It's just a break. This is not going to break you. It's just a break. Oh, God. There are losses. Oh, she says, when you come into agreement with your condition, right? It could be a condition that you have that is the result of an interruption. When you come into agreement with that thing, you make it your identity. So that's why right now, as I'm experiencing, that it feels a little bit difficult to break free from this interruption I had, right? Because I latched it on to my identity. She says there are losses in our lives that we have to release or lose as a part of our identity. When you say, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm this, change your words, because words mean things. I feel depressed. So you don't have to take on the identity of the thing. That's it. It's only an interruption. Go about your business. Si nadie te ha dicho hoy, esta día que te estoy hablando a ti mismo. If nobody has told you today, I love you and I love myself. Because listen, life be life. And but guess what? We are going to prosper regardless. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.